The premise of today's show is a sentence. You ready for it? Okay. Winning doesn't happen by accident. And by the way, my mom taught me a long time ago, it's not on accident, it's by accident. That's proper syntax of a sentence. This is the Doug Gottlieb Show. We're live here on Fox Sports Radio, the iHeartRadio app. A reminder, you can download this in podcast form. Plus, we have the podcast-only hour, which I think we lay into Chris Russo pretty good because no matter what the data is, he's don't disturb my sports guy. Just type in Doug Gottlieb. You can download the podcast. We come to you live every day from the TireRack.com studios. TireRack.com will help you get there. Unmatched selection, fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection. Over 10,000 recommended installers. TireRack.com, it's the way tire buying should be. Winning doesn't happen by accident. I tell people all the time, if you go to a practice of a team that ends up winning or competing for a championship, it feels different. And it doesn't just feel different the day or two before the championship game. You can go anywhere. Like I tell people all the time, I was at Villanova's practice. They played Seton Hall on the road the year they won their first championship under Jay Reid. And they won on a play, on a counter of a play that they had worked on in shoot-around the day of the game. And I was talking to Jay Reid after the game, and I said, that was amazing. He's like, what was amazing? I was like, I knew you guys were winning from the moment you guys walked on the practice floor for shoot-around. Everything about it was perfect. The focus, the attention to detail, the energy, the execution. I've been to Bill Self's practices before. He's amazing at the things that he preps for. You go to a college football practice, and the teams that win championships or the teams that win big games, you can just walk into their practices anytime, and look, teams have bad practices. You got a guy having a bad mood or whatever. But just the energy and the feeling and the level of preparation, winning doesn't happen by accident. Does it take some luck? Hell yeah. Right? Like, look, you got to be a little bit lucky. Take the Kansas City Chiefs. The last fumble, the fumble by on the, was it a punt? Right? If the Niners simply corral that punt instead of fumbling it, maybe it's a different outcome, right? And it's not just the fumble, it's that it hit one of the up guys, one of the blockers, and then the return man, it was just at an angle that he couldn't pick it up. Whereas Kansas City, they fumbled a punt, it bounced right back to the return, right? Luck plays a factor, but winning doesn't happen by accident. Let me give you a couple examples why. Okay? This Super Bowl is obviously going to be known as Mahomes without much to work with. Mahomes' final drive. The corn dog is the call, right? We had Philly special when the Eagles won. This is corn dog. By the way, same play 2 years in a row, which also gets into this discussion, right? Like, remember, why did the Patriots pick off the pass of the Seahawks and Russell Wilson? Some of it is luck, right? Some of it is luck. Because Russell Wilson is smaller, he couldn't see, he couldn't throw the ball. If that ball is thrown, where only the wide receiver can get it between the ground and like a foot off the ground, there's no way that Malcolm Butler can jump in front and intercept the football. But the reason that Malcolm Butler could jump the route, as has been said over and over again, is that they went over it in the week leading up to the Super Bowl. This is one of their go-to plays. When you see this alignment, this is the play. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, Jay Stu, and with you, Dan Byer. Okay? Rob Parker on The Odd Couple said that Kyle Shanahan should be fired. And his logic behind it was, can't win the big game. That was his logic behind it. Now, I don't believe Kyle Shanahan should be fired because if Kyle Shanahan was on the open market, everybody would gobble it up. But I do think that Kyle Shanahan, there is either a lack of attention to detail or an arrogance about how they prepare that has cost him a Super Bowl. Would anybody argue they had the better roster? 1-53. They had the lead. They didn't win the game. Okay? Was luck a factor? Sure. There were some things that didn't go their way. Okay? But John Wooden has said it, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Okay, so let me give you a couple of instances here. Okay? A couple of different things. First, here's the sound, and we got this from Inside the NFL, where they had the NFL Films sound. Here's the sound of Pat Mahomes and the sidelines when they had the coin toss for overtime.
You go with the toss?
Yeah. Which way you want to kick it? They call it. They call it, right?
Well, they got a coin flip.
Yeah, they call a coin flip. It's their coin flip, right? Which way do you want to kick it?
Doesn't matter.
We want the ball, Fred. San Francisco, you are still the visitors. What is your call?
Tails again.
He called tails again. It is tails.
We'll receive.
You want the ball. Which way do you want to kick?
We're going to kick that way.
San Francisco will receive first in overtime. Good luck, gentlemen.
They want it. They want the ball. They wanted it. Hey, they wanted it. They wanted it, baby.
We want them to have the ball. They want it, they can have it.
Hey, even if we score a touchdown, they still get the ball. I didn't know that.
If we won the toss, we were going to kick off too. We got what we wanted.
Jay, you said something about Patrick.
So, listen, Jay Cutler, later on that cut from Inside the NFL, said somebody's going to get fired. Okay? I told you that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And that winning doesn't happen by accident. Let me get you a quick breaking news update, and maybe this will help make my point even further. Here's
breaking news from Fox Sports.
Doug, the San Francisco 49ers have fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilks. He spent just one season on the job, took over the gig from DeMeco Ryans, who left last year to become the head coach of the Houston Texans. Steve Wilks out after one season as the Niners defensive coordinator.
Okay. Here's the thing. Okay. It is not Steve Wilks' fault that they decided to receive the kick in overtime. But to not have prepared for that play when, if you remember last year's Super Bowl, the Chiefs didn't just win the Super Bowl on it. They ran that same play twice. Twice. And what did we all say about Jonathan Gannon, who's now the coach of the Arizona Cardinals? Are you kidding me? They run the same play. They saw it on film. They went in the same play twice. How'd you not see that? Well, maybe he didn't see it because he didn't have 2 weeks to prepare for a play that he'd seen. But the Niners did. Do I think that one play is the reason that Wilks lost his job? No. The defense was a disaster from the Baltimore game on. Right? I mean, let's just be honest. If Jordan Love wasn't in his first year, if he knew what he was doing, if he had a little bit more experience, if the Packers were a little bit better, the Packers beat the Niners. Right? That should have happened. And let's just be honest. The Lions were up 2 touchdowns. If they just kick a field goal, go up 27-10, the Lions beat the Niners. Why? Because they couldn't stop anybody, despite all that money on defense. So it's not just that play, but running the exact same play that won them the Super Bowl and they scored on twice last year is a fireable offense. Why? Because failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Now let's look at the other side for a second. Okay? Here's Travis Kelce and his brother Jason Kelce on their podcast talking about the bump with Andy Reid.
You crossed the line. I think we can both agree on that.
I can't get that fired up to the point where I'm bumping coach and it's getting him off balance and stuff. When he stumbled, I was just like, oh, in my head.
Or even, let's be honest. The yelling in his face too is over the top. I think there's better ways to handle this retrospectively.
Yeah, I know. I'm a passionate guy. I love Coach Reid. Coach Reid knows how much I love to play for him, how much I love to be, a product of his coaching career. I'm not playing for anybody else but Big Red. If he calls it quits this year, I'm out there with him, man.
He ain't calling it quits. Come on now.
He's not. It's definitely unacceptable, and I immediately wish I would have took it back. Coach Reid actually came right up to me after that and didn't even have harsh words for me. I was ready to get a ass chewing and for him to just tell me to be better. And he just let him know, hey, man, I love your passion. I got cameras on me all over the place, man. You don't want things to come off.
Not to be like that. Yes, yeah, for sure.
And, man, it just fired me up even more to go out there and get a victory for him, man. Look, that's how much I love that dude, man. But if he would have cold cocked me in the face right there, I would have just ate it and just been like, yeah, let's go.
The deal is this, okay? If you can't tell that they have respect and reverence, but he also lets them be men and understands the energy of it and everything going on. None of this is by accident. Okay? It's just not. It's just not. Their prep was better. Overtime's a perfect example. Right? And it's really interesting. Okay? People ask all the time, what do you love about coaching? Because I coach kids, I'll coach teams overseas, I've been up for college coaching jobs or whatever, and I will tell you what it is. Okay? It's what I love, and this is a very selfish thing, but it's a very real thing, is you, for example, in basketball, okay, you put in an end of game, end of quarter, end of half play. And you run it, and you run it, and you run it, you run it, you rep it, you rep it, you rep it, you rep it, and you put guys in specific places to do specific things. And you tell them, hey, we're going to run this play, and you time it out during practice, and you run it until the ball goes in, and then you switch positions, and you run it until the ball goes in, or whatever. And then every day you kind of do it, and you refine it. This is what we're doing at the end of a half, at the end of a quarter, the end of a game. And then at the end of a half, end of a quarter, end of a game, you say, we're running that one play. And you have the right guys in at the right spots, and they execute, and they run it, and the guy comes open, and the ball goes in the basket, and every guy on that bench looks at you with reverence like, this guy's a genius. No, it's not. We just practiced a play, and we executed it, and you put the ball. You actually did all the work. But the confidence comes from you gave them the scenario that said, this is what's going to happen. Here's what we're going to do. The ball is going to go in the basket. Andy Reid prepared them for 2 weeks. Here's the overtime rules. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what's going to happen. And I know we talk about formations and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, the number one factor in making it and not making it is confidence, belief, faith, whatever you want to call it. And the way to make people who haven't accomplished something believe that they can accomplish something is create the scenario so that they can see it. That way, when it repeats itself in real life, they've already done it. Winning isn't an accident. Does it take luck? Sure. Hey, does it take the other guy to foobar it? Of course. Hey, and does it take players, not plays? Yes. None of this happened if you got some schlub at quarterback or you don't have Travis Kelce. None of it. But how he relates to the players, how he handles their energy, the respect that they have for him, the preparation that he's had because he's been there, he's done that, he's foreseen it, the level of detail that they have. The Niners didn't know the rules. They didn't know why they had the ball. And I'm sure Steve Wilks, a big reason he was fired today was not just the collapse after the Baltimore game. It was, how did you not know that play was coming? And how do I know that? Okay, because even though Romo completely stepped on Nance's call, what he meant when he said, hey, this is a Andy Reid special, it was Romo going, that's the same play as last year. Orlovsky immediately put out, that's the same play as last year. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Winning isn't an accident. Somebody was going to get fired. We found out who today. And the Kansas City Chiefs are champions again because of a lot of other factors. But mostly because of their coach.